Hey parents, ready to turn story time into a magical adventure? With the Story Dream Machine, colorful lights and sound effects bring every tale to life right before your eyes. Choose from a wide variety of story collections to keep the excitement going, sold separately. And with the Storytime travel case, you can take the fun anywhere. Vacation, grandma's house, even the backyard. Plus, the Story Dreamers plush adds interactive moments your kids will love. Storytime isn't just reading, it's dreaming. Bring Storytime to life with the Story Dream Machine.
It's finally here! Black Friday at Ulta Beauty. Take 30% off MAC foundations and lip colors. Save $100 on the iconic Dyson Airwrap. And starting Tuesday, shop mascaras for $14 and lip colors for $12. Perfect for stocking up. To make it super easy, shop online and pick up in store or get same-day delivery. Head into Ulta Beauty and shop Black Friday deals now through November 29th. Ulta Beauty. Gifting happens here.
Welcome back to this month's episode of Amansplaining. I'm very excited about this because we are actually releasing this to our main feed as well as for Uncorked subscribers to give you sweet little Coven member loves who are not yet Uncorked members a little taste of some of the stuff we got going on behind the scenes over on Uncorked. And so Amansplaining is a show that I put together every other month where using our SpeakPipe account, which is on our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com, I get really fun little messages from all of you listeners, and I just give a little bit of advice. You call in and you tell me what's going on in your life, and I respond as a pretty, I wouldn't say fully objective because, I'm going to be on your side basically no matter what. But as a third party who can just tell you how I feel about it. And as I always mention at the top of all of these episodes, I am not a licensed therapist. And I highly encourage therapy for everyone, especially because a lot of recurring things happen on these episodes of Amansplaining. A lot of conversation around boundaries, identity, discovery of self, and, just like feeling comfortable in your own skin. And these are obviously conversations that we all have experience in, and I can absolutely reflect on and share how I feel with you. And having a conversation regularly with a licensed therapist who can really give you the tools you need to navigate any of the issues that you might be going through is such an important tool to have in your arsenal. So if you are in need of some more services, some resources, you can always check out our resources page on wineandcrimepodcast.com. But if you just wanted to bounce something off, a little friend, a little sister, I'm your girl. And so that is what these calls are all about. It's also kind of a holiday episode. So I chose some things today that I thought might work well with what a lot of people might be going through as this season descends upon us, whether we like it or not. So with all of that said, welcome, and let's dive in to our first call.
Hi, Amanda, longtime listener, first-time caller. I'm calling about a situation with my mother-in-law. Just at a point where I just don't know how to handle this, and just looking for some advice because I am married. I've been married for 11 and a half years. We have two wonderful children. They're 11 and 8. So, they're still going to be in the house for many more years. And my mother-in-law, she is a very negative person. She's always has been. If you can picture a person who always talks negative about people, she never starts conversations with anything positive. It's always negative, or someone did this, negative drama. My husband is the youngest of 3 boys, and she will even talk bad if one son's not around. She'll make a negative comment. And for the longest time, I'm like, okay, that's how she is. I'll deal with her. I've created boundaries with her and whatnot. And it's been fine up until about this year. It was Easter, and the family had been playing cards. My husband had been drinking. The family had been drinking except for my mother-in-law. I was in the kitchen doing dishes, cleaning up. And this was at my brother-in-law's house, not my own house. Well, she looks at my husband and she starts criticizing him about his parenting skills, whatnot, with our ADHD son. And then she turns to me and criticizes me too. And I'm just standing there flabbergasted, not knowing what to say, what to do. Would be the first kind of situation with my mother-in-law like this. Also, at the same point, I wasn't in my own house. You know, I was just caught off guard. It was late and whatnot. And it's not okay. Well, having conversations with my husband later, you know, he agrees it's not okay. We're not going to put up with that, because I wouldn't allow that if my parents did that to my husband. It's not okay. So besides this fact, she is the person who will hold grudges. One little thing you do wrong, in her mind, in her eyes, piss her off, she will hold a grudge over you for years, probably in the rest of her life. I don't know. Well, it's now gone to the point where she comes and she won't look me in the eyes. She won't greet me. She won't even make small talk. And my husband is not okay with this. He's been paying closer attention to how she is with me. And so he said that he was going to do the same thing if she were to act like that again when she came to visit. Well, we went to visit her and other family last week, and she did the same thing to me. Won't greet me, won't look me in the eye, not even make small talk. And I'm a very kind, courteous person, and I'm like, how are you? And, you know, I knew she had a knee surgery. I'm like, how are you doing after your surgery? You know, any normal, kind person could make small talk and be courteous, whatnot, but not her. And it's just at the point, well, I just don't even want to be around, because it's just like, it's not enjoyable. It's not comfortable for me. And then also my kids are going to see that, you know? So I guess I just don't know what to do with her anymore. Like, obviously she's still in the kid's life, but I guess just need to create different boundaries with her, especially if she comes to my house. I don't know. Any advice?
Okay, I'm going to start by saying that in-law stuff is challenging. We actually just put out an episode about this, or about the time that this comes out. They might be in tandem. That's an evil in-laws episode. And in-law relationships can be really complicated. They can be fraught with, you know, inconsistencies in terms of personality types. They can be really hard. And all that to say, I am very lucky with both sides of my family not being, you know, very challenging to navigate. Everybody's pretty chill. Everybody kind of keeps themselves. So I have been in situations like this before. That is not my present experience, but that doesn't mean that I don't have something to say about it. So you and your husband and your kids are your family. That is your priority, period, full stop. You need to be a united front, not in just how you parent your children, but how you communicate with each other, how you back each other up. And the in-laws, you know, are part of your family, but they are not the ones that are, try as they might, dictating how you operate in your family unit, period. And your husband has to have a serious conversation with his mother. We are responsible for our own parents. And like I said, being a united front, especially if they're fucking around, is so important. You want to have a relationship with your partner where you both, kind of like you mentioned, if your mother or father or parent were treating your husband that way, that would not be acceptable. You would shut that down. He needs to be doing the same thing. And I'm glad it sounds like you're pretty much on the same page about the fact that her behavior is not okay. But now you two need to have a different conversation about, okay, we've identified that this behavior is not acceptable. Now, what are we going to do about it? And how are we going to set those boundaries together and then commit to holding them? So ultimately, what's likely going to have to happen is he is going to have a challenging call with his mom after you two discuss what those boundaries are and how they will be enforced. And at the end of the day, if she can't interact with you like a decent human being, or her son like a decent human being, then she does not get to be part of your family unit. You do not have to subject yourselves or each other to that kind of behavior. And certainly not by osmosis allow this woman to model to your children that speaking to others like this is okay. Like, kids are sponges, and no matter how much you try to be the peacekeeper and try to just let things roll off your back, they're gonna notice and take in the way that their grandmother is treating their mom and their dad. And that will potentially show them how they can treat you or how they can treat other people. And that is also not okay. So I would recommend setting some hard boundaries around how everyone is expected to behave. And you can do that by saying, like, here's what we're willing to do. We will hold the same rules and the same boundaries. We can be pleasant. We can talk about these topics. Like, we can have these experiences together. And if you can't keep your opinions to yourself, then we will leave. You don't get access. And she will push every single boundary. You will have to hold firm, which is why having your action plan with your partner and, you know, your kids for how it's going to go. If grandma does this or that, we will have to leave. And then you have to stick to it. She's going to have a tantrum. She's going to freak out. And then you can absolutely gray rock it and do not fuel that tantrum. You can reaffirm, we had this conversation, we set clear boundaries that everyone agreed to about how we were all going to show up today and how we were going to treat each other. And you broke those boundaries, and we told you what would happen if those boundaries were broken. And that's what we did. We, you know, if you want to give this another try down the road, great, we're open to it. But today, this conversation is over and we're not going to be engaging with this anymore. And then don't answer the calls. Don't fuel the fire. You got to set the boundaries and then maintain the boundaries and just be very clear. This is what it is. We are adults. We have our own family. We will not be treated this way, both in our own home or outside of our home, period. And I would recommend not hosting her for a little while. You can try to have this first test of boundaries after that conversation is had in either a neutral place or at her place so that you can leave. You can leave, and it's not as challenging as trying to kick her out of your house. So that's my recommendation. And it might sound really harsh, but like, honestly, a lot of these relationships do require this kind of practice where it's like, this is what I told you I need. This is what I told you that we're willing to do. And if nobody can adhere to that, we are removing ourselves from the situation. We don't want to be around this behavior, and we don't want our children around this behavior. And if you can't figure that out, like, that's a you problem. You have all of the tools and resources available to be able to fix your shit. And we don't want this around our family. So it is what it is. I am really thinking about you this holiday season. And I hope that you guys can be on the same page, be a united front in your marriage, and, you know, do this hard shit together and not alone. Because, oh my God, it's impossible to set boundaries on somebody else's family without your partner's participation. So, you know, this is going to be a heavy lift for your husband, but it sounds like he loves you. And I think there's a lot of him that seems to understand that something needs to be done. And a lot of times small adjustments or trying to be the peacekeeper or trying to let things roll, that doesn't actually do anything to disrupt, shut down, or change the dynamic or the behavior. And so this will be a challenging period of time where you're working on these boundaries and you're committing to keeping them. It's not going to be an easy road, but I really want to believe that there is some relief on the other end of it when you can make this routine. And so she knows exactly what the expectation is and has no one to blame but herself if you end up leaving the function because she acted a fool. So please follow up. Let me know how the holidays go. I need an update. And I'm thinking of you and sending you all of my love. All right, let's hear from our next caller. I like to spice things up in my wardrobe, but if I'm being super real, the majority of the time I'm wearing athleisure. I'm wearing athletic wear. I'm wearing comfy things that are going to stretch with my body, that are easy to wash, that are going to keep me feeling like cool, dry, and comfortable throughout the day, no matter what I'm doing. And if you are like me, meaning you basically live in activewear, then you know the struggle of finding the good stuff without breaking the bank, because the good stuff costs way too much. And that is why I am obsessed with Fabletics, because it feels just as premium as those expensive brands without making me and my wallet cry.
Yeah, when I signed up as a new VIP, I got 80% off of everything. Like,
God bless.
this is a real deal, people. The quality is really surprising. These pieces feel like the kind of high-end activewear that you'd pay like $200 for. You know what I'm talking about. But I'm getting that level of quality at a fraction of the price. So that makes the membership feel like it pays for itself. And truly, it does with the amount of leggings that I bought. And the fit and feel are dialed in. There's no waistbands rolling down. You don't have to be pulling them up all the time. They've got joggers that actually keep their shape, jackets that are warm without the bulk. You got the cutest little Sherpa jacket.
I know. I love my black jacket. It's so warm and comfy, and it's a good layer under my like big winter coat.
It's a great layer. I got some fleece-lined leggings. Hi. It is pouring snow outside right now. I've got those leggings on. You know I do. So it solves the usual issues that I've had with other activewear that is within my budget, while still being soft, breathable, and durable enough for workouts, travel, everyday wear, all of it. It also helps knowing that Fabletics has built a community of over 2 million VIP members and more than 200 retail stores, which makes me feel like I'm joining something people already love and rely on, because they do and they do.
So Fabletics already has amazing deals, but right now they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of that. And we've got an exclusive offer just for you. 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Head to fabletics.com/gals and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off everything. This is only available through our link, so go to fabletics.com/gals to sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/gals.
The wait is over. The Knix Black Friday sale is on now at knix.com. Shop early and save up to 60% off site-wide. Plus, all kinds of limited-time daily deals from the #1 leak-proof brand in North America. Don't miss your chance to save big on innovative intimates like leak-proof underwear, wireless bras, shapewear, and more. Everything is on sale. Millions have made the switch to Knix's revolutionary period underwear, and there's never been a better time for you to try them too. During the Black Friday sale, save up to 60% on super comfy, machine washable, and stylish leak-proof undies. Plus, shop the best deals of the year on Knix's best-selling assortment of wireless bras. Don't miss this chance to stock up on your Knix favorites or try something new during the Knix Black Friday event. That's knix.com. The sale ends December 2nd and sizes will sell out. Go to knix.com. That's knix.com.
Hey everyone, Ed Helms here.
And hi, I'm Cal Penn, and we're the hosts of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club.
This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Jenny Garth, host of the iHeart podcast I Choose Me, to discuss the new Audible adaptation of the timeless Jane Austen classic, Pride and Prejudice. This is not a trick question. Okay. There's no wrong answer. What role would I play?
You know what? I can see you as Mr. Darcy. You got a little Colin Firth.
Okay, that's really sweet. I appreciate that, but are you sure I'm not the dad? I'm not Mr. Bennett here? Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeart Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Amanda. I now live in... I've been here for 10 years. I came over to do a short acting course at a college which turned out to be a cult. That's a different story. Happy to follow up at a different time if you'd like. But while at that college, I ended up meeting my now husband. We've been married for 5 years. I was 25 and he was 23 when we got married. In hindsight, it was very rushed because being in Christian in quotation circles means that you get married super quick. You date for like 9 months and then you're engaged and then you're married by the time you've been together for a year. The marriage is no longer serving me in a positive way. I have put more of my heart and soul into it than he has. He's been emotionally absent for the majority of the marriage. I have done all of the housework the entire time. And anytime I ask for assistance around the house, he gets upset because he has Crohn's disease. And I understand that having inflammatory bowel disorder or disease can be very challenging. But I have stage 2 endometriosis and I live with chronic pain every day. So it's just become this really difficult and toxic situation. I'm currently sleeping on an air mattress in our spare bedroom. Basically, my question is, how do I tell him that I'm done? I've agreed to go to marriage counseling because I know it'll look good on separation papers and things like that. But I'm so tired, dude. Like, I've given my everything and it's not been reciprocated and it's been weaponized against me. And I don't know how to say I'm done. And I'm so sad that I'm going to have to leave behind 2 of my cats. One of which I would say is my forever pet. I love her so much, but she's bonded to our other cat who is bonded to my husband. Oh, sorry, there's a lot to unpack here. But yeah, basically, how do I say that I'm done in a loving and respectful way? Because as much as it hurts, I do still love him. And as much as it hurts, I do care about him. And I don't want to cause him further pain, even though I'm in pain. So, yeah. Please help. Thank you.
Oof, this is so hard. And I am just holding and hearing your pain and your exhaustion. And I want to first start by saying that everything you are feeling is so valid. And I've talked about this on this show multiple times, where it's often not anything egregious or big or earth-shattering that ends a relationship. It's often stuff like this. When life together isn't equitable, everything you do doesn't have to be equal, because, I mean, you both understand this. Dealing with chronic illness, dealing with changes in finances, dealing with capacity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not everybody's going to be on the same page all the time. But if nobody is able to step up for you when you are filling all of those gaps, that is not an equitable relationship. And that goes beyond distribution of labor, because distribution of labor is the basics. That's just management of a household. If you aren't getting your needs met on such a basic level, life is full of curveballs and challenges and changes that you didn't see coming that will absolutely flip your life upside down. And if you don't have a partner that you know that you can really be in the trenches with, or who can prove to you that you can be in the trenches with them, it's not, I don't want to say it's not worth it, because, you know, obviously everybody is different, but if it were me, I think I'd be in the same position as you. I don't think that I could continue being the one who gives so much more than the other partner gives. And that's not just in terms of giving to me. That's in terms of giving to the household, to our life together, to, you know, connection, to communication, to social engagements, to friends, to all of those things. Like, you are building a life together. And if you're the one kind of doing all the building while the other partner is just coasting along and not stepping up and helping you to build this life together, then, like, what is it about? So I think that you know better than anyone what you need and what you want. And that if you are feeling like you cannot get those things with the partner that you have, that is okay. I think there are a lot of societal pressures after you get married to stay together. And I understand that, especially if you have kids, which you don't have. So, like, this could be a much more complicated situation than it sounds like it's set up to be. But I think we need to break that stigma a little bit. Happy marriages don't end in divorce. They just don't. So I am of, the opinion that we should be congratulating people's divorces for the most part, because that means that it's an end of something that was not serving you. And I know that it is, trust me, if I suddenly had to walk away from beans and pepperoni, I don't know what I would do. And I also know that if it were a choice between being in the household with these creatures and these sweet babies that I love more than life itself, or like my own well-being, my own ability to live, that even they, in all of their love and admiration for you, would want you to have a better life, have a good life. And you can hold that love and you can hold those memories. And, maybe if you end up having an amicable separation, you could still, be in their lives a little bit, get some updates. But like, that is love and connection that you can find again and create again for yourself when you are in a better place. So my recommendation, I don't know how the laws work where you live, but if you were here, I understand what you're saying about going to marriage counseling. And if that is recommended for the ease of the separation from a legal standpoint, by all means do that. But, and this is a very, American take, but like, reach out to a lawyer right now before you even like sit down and have a big conversation with your partner. Get your legal ducks in a row. Figure out what you need to do. Figure out how this is going to look, because that can also help shape how you have that conversation with with your partner, in a way that is going to, like you said, be respectful, be clear, be concise, but also protect you at all costs. So I don't know what the financial situation is in your home. I don't know what the work situation is in your home. I don't know what the asset ownership or, whatever you've accumulated in a marriage is in your home. I don't know. But I do know that divorce, at least in the US, can be very messy, very expensive, and very dysregulating. And so one of the first steps that you can tangibly do is just make a call. Do a Google. Find, divorce lawyers in your area and just make a call and have a consultation. Just see what this is going to look like. See what, best practices would be. Get some solid legal advice before you make any big moves, so that you have an idea of what you're looking at. Now, if your partner, if you believe that this could be amicable, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out, villainous process. You don't have children together. That's, kind of a good thing in some of these circumstances. So it doesn't have to be quite as complicated with custody and all of that. But yeah, at this point, you're sleeping on an air mattress, hon. A change has to be made, and you're young. You got married really young. And so this is really overwhelming. That would be my recommendation. Call a lawyer and get a consultation, just to get your feet under you and get your head around what the next steps even are, because most of us have no clue. Most of us go into a marriage thinking, all right, well, that's it. And then suddenly, or not suddenly, but then you find yourself in a situation like this where it's like, oh, fuck, I don't even know how to do this. And there are people that can absolutely help you. If counseling is recommended, because of, again, like the legal on paper, what it looks like for a divorce in your area, okay, that's fine. But, I only know what you're willing to do. And it sounds like you're willing to do what's necessary to make sure this is as painless and amicable as possible for both parties. I don't know what your partner feels in that regard. I don't know how your partner will respond to this. But I want to believe that human beings are, for the most part, good. And that if your partner truly cares about you, then they won't be out to get you. But also just know that like divorce can make people do crazy shit. And it can make, people feeling like they're being rejected or left can kind of set folks into a state of dysregulation where they may even engage in behaviors that they didn't even see coming. So you're the only person that I'm thinking about in this equation because you're the one who called. And I just want to make sure that you do what you can to protect yourself. And reaching out to a lawyer, having a consultation doesn't mean you're hiring one right now, but it means that you're starting that process and giving yourself the opportunity to have a framework for how this could potentially go. And that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean you're sneaking around behind somebody's back. You have made a valid decision. You seem to have a clear understanding of the fact that this relationship is no longer working and that you would like to exit. And it's pretty hard to go back from that. But obviously things can happen. So if you're open to that, great. But I don't know. There's something about your voice and there's something about the way that you're having this, that you're speaking in this call that feels, I could be way off, but it almost feels like you've been thinking about this for a really long time. And then you made this call and you're getting emotional because it might be one of the first times that you said out loud what you actually want. And it sounds to me like you know what you want. And the first really hard part is saying it out loud. Yes, I want to end this marriage. I want to leave this relationship. That's huge. That's a big step. And that's really, really hard. And, the path ahead may not be easy, but what the potential is for you on the other side will absolutely be worth it. You can do this. You can maintain your level of love, care, and respect for your partner, even when you no longer want to be in that relationship. That is okay. That is human. That doesn't make you a bad person. And you also, you got to think about you. You have to protect yourself. So that's my recommendation. Reach out to a lawyer. Just have a conversation. You don't have to commit to anything today. But sometimes it's just easier for us to figure out what's the next step when we have a better picture of what the fuck does this even all look like in the first place? What am I about to embark on potentially? So get a little bit more information, and I think that things will start to fall into place in your mind and in your heart and in your body when you have more information. Like, I know that when I am standing at the precipice of a totally unknown territory and I don't know what to do, that's when I completely spiral, and then everything feels like too much and too overwhelming, and then I just retreat. And so this will help you be guided by somebody who knows exactly what to do, to say, yep, this is what it's going to look like. This is what it sounds like you're dealing with. This is what it might cost you. This is what, this could happen. This could happen. This could happen. We can help you with this. Being able to move out of that decision-making stage and into more of a, okay, I'm planning my exit now stage will help you regain a little bit of control and regain a little bit of regulation of your nervous system. So that would be my recommendation. And then also, even if you don't do couples therapy, baby, get some therapy for you, because, I'm hoping that I'm totally wrong and that this won't be, a wild ride, but it's going to be a challenge regardless. And you're going to need somebody to talk to that you can trust, who only has your best interest at heart and cares about your wellness first and foremost. And I'm wishing you all of the best. And I'm so sorry that this shit is happening. And I love and appreciate you for calling in. And I wish we had better resources that I could guide you to for this specific situation, but I don't personally, but there are resources in your area. So seek them out and set a goal that this week, I'm just going to make a call. I'm going to make a call just for informational purposes only, if that's how you want to frame it. And then you'll have a better framework for where do I go from here? And it's going to be okay. It really is. Even some of the gnarliest divorces, at the end of the day, they're both happier to be done with it. So even if you're kind of hurting him right now in the okay, I've made the decision, it's time to go, we have to figure out an exit strategy. A, you're sleeping on an air mattress. It's not like he doesn't know. And B, a temporary heartbreak or dysregulation is just that. It's temporary. And you're not doing anything intentionally to be a villain here. You're just trying to take care of yourself. And knowing that your partner can't really take care of you in the way that you need to be cared for is a perfectly valid reason to go your own way. So you're not bad. You're not doing anything bad. You're not mean. You're not a villain in this story at all at this point. I mean, from the little limited information that I have. And frankly, he's not even really a villain in this story. You just aren't it's not an equitable partnership. You guys just aren't aligned and you're not meeting each other's needs. He's not meeting yours. There's probably things that he thinks his needs aren't being met. Whether you feel like those are valid or not is up to you. But typically, if one person is feeling some type of way, the other person is also feeling some type of way. They might not be the exact type of way, but typically you are not experiencing these feelings in isolation in your own relationship. So you might be surprised when you do get to the point where you're ready to sit down with him and say, hey, we need to talk about this because I'm at the end of the line here. He may not put up the resistance that you might be anticipating. He may understand and frankly even agree that what you have here isn't working, that you got married really young and you followed what was expected of you and it just didn't work out. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. That is totally normal. And you guys are going to be just fine. You're going to figure it out. I think you're both going to be happier on the other side. All right. I love you very much. Please follow up. I know I say this to everybody, but like, please follow up. This is a lot. And you're going to figure it out and you're not alone. You're not alone. Reach out to your community. Make sure you've got a couple of trusted friends that know what's going on so that if you do need to stay with somebody else for a little while, if you do need to make some arrangements, you've got backup. You've got support. That's so key. All right, let's get to the next call.
The wait is over. The NYX Black Friday sale is on now at knix.com. Shop early and save up to 60% off site-wide. Plus, all kinds of limited-time daily deals from the #1 leak-proof brand in North America. Don't miss your chance to save big on innovative intimates like leak-proof underwear, wireless bras, shapewear, and more. Everything is on sale. Millions have made the switch to NYX's revolutionary period underwear, and there's never been a better time for you to try them too. During the Black Friday sale, save up to 60% on super comfy, machine washable, and stylish leak-proof undies. Plus, shop the best deals of the year on NYX's best-selling assortment of wireless bras. Don't miss this chance to stock up on your NYX favorites or try something new during the NYX Black Friday event. That's knix.com. The sale ends December 2nd and sizes will sell out. Go to knix.com. That's knix.com.
Travel is one of the best ways to discover yourself through experiences, making rich memories, the heightened emotions, and deep connections. And with EF Ultimate Break's biggest sale of the year, there is up to $1,000 off trips to Japan, Italy, Greece, Thailand, Egypt, Kenya, and beyond, which you can lock in for just $99. Build lasting friendships, forever change how you see the world, and just have the time of your life. Visit efultimatebreak.com.
Hey everyone, Ed Helms here.
And hi, I'm Cal Penn, and we're the hosts of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club.
This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Jenny Garth, host of the iHeart podcast I Choose Me, to discuss the new Audible adaptation of the timeless Jane Austen classic, Pride and Prejudice. This is not a trick question. Okay. There's no wrong answer. What role would I play?
You know what? I can see you as Mr. Darcy. You got a little Colin Firth.
Okay, that's really sweet. I appreciate that, but are you sure I'm not the dad? I'm not Mr. Bennett here. Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeart Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Amanda. I have a daughter who was recently diagnosed with dysautonomia/POTS. She is 15, going on 16 soon, and previous to this was an honor roll student, was an accomplished cellist, has done all of the things. She has been bedridden since February of this year, and I think that a lot of it is fear and medical trauma that is keeping her bedridden, and I have really heard and felt your stories about being diagnosed with diabetes at the age of, I think, 12. And I was just wondering, as a kid, what helped you as far as your parents pushing you and what didn't? Because I'm at a loss here. my kid and I have always had a super close relationship, and I feel like it's fracturing with this diagnosis. So I hope that you can address this, because I'd really love some advice on how I maintain a relationship with my kid, but also push her to be healthy. Thanks.
Oh, I'm so fucking sorry to hear this. That's a heavy diagnosis to get at a young age, and absolutely will affect the rest of her life. And that is a lot for an adult to process. And she is not an adult. She's just a kid, you know? So I understand her kind of paralysis right now. And I can't say that I experienced the same paralysis or exhibited paralysis in the same way. But what I can say is that you were correct. I was diagnosed when I was 12. And I had already grown up in a household where my father was a type 1 diabetic. So I'd seen some of the horror of what this chronic condition can be. And so in some ways that was motivating, but also, you know, in some ways I was still a kid. And there were a lot of times where I just didn't care about taking care of myself. And no amount of my parents trying to help manage for me or help me manage my chronic condition really changed my attitude until I was ready to take responsibility for my own health and wellness. And that is a lifelong challenge, but I think it's especially hard when you're a kid and you can't really fathom the future effects on your life that the decisions you make right now can have. I mean, that's part of the whole prefrontal cortex thing, right? Like we just don't have the capacity to do that when we're children. And so it really sounds to me like your daughter is really struggling and like she's really depressed. And, you know, there are lots of people who live with POTS and live very full and meaningful lives where they get to do almost everything while managing their symptoms. And it sounds like your daughter is really deep right now in a space where she can't wrap her head around everything she used to be able to do with so much simplicity without having to think about it, and everything that she has to manage now that she has this diagnosis. And I deeply, deeply, deeply connect with that. I really do understand that feeling. And it's not a feeling that you, in all of the love and care and concern you have for her, can change for her. She does have to discover some of this on her own. Now, I would highly recommend individual and family counseling. These kinds of diagnoses are tough on everybody. They are toughest on her because this is her thing that she'll have to carry now forever. But I think it really sounds like all of you need a little bit of help in terms of putting this diagnosis into digestible pieces so that you have a framework to be able to approach things one day at a time and do so in a way that her brain will understand, while you also receive additional counseling on your own as her mom to figure out, A, how do I support her? And B, how do I not overstep? And like, how do I get okay with letting her discover the new life that she has ahead, even while part of that is watching her like really suffering. And right now she's really suffering. And there are some things that, you know, parents and loved ones can do to alleviate some of that suffering. But I'm sure as a parent, all you want to do is make it all go away. And you simply cannot. You cannot. You know, I've been diabetic now for 25 plus years. And for the most part, I have things in pretty good control. But like my mental health is consistently not great. And I have figured out how to manage it in such a way that like allows me to function. But I still have plenty of days, weeks, months where things feel really dark inside of my head. And I don't want to deal with my body and I don't want to deal with my brain. And, you know, thank God I have supporting people. I have supporting family. I have a supporting husband. I have, a good therapist. I have great doctors. Like all of those tools can be in place and you can still be suffering in ways that are hard to explain. But I think something that you can certainly do is keep those lines of communication open with her, continue to reach for her. And honestly, by you going to therapy and even, not oversharing, but in some ways being open about that with your family, especially if you all go together and as well as individually. I think she should get her own therapist. And I think you guys should do some family therapy, and that maybe you getting your own therapist if you don't already have one would be a great idea as well. But modeling that is normal. That's a way that people ask for help. That's a way that people get support to manage the overwhelming aspects of life, which will be in abundance over the course of a lifetime. You might not be able to take all of her pain away, but you can show her that she's not alone, that it's okay to get help, and that it's okay to try different things. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to take some time in bed. And then also it's getting to a point where it's time to move into some level of acceptance, and you want to help her get there. You can't take it all away. And there's that weird balance between, being all up in her business when she just is not in a good place and ignoring it. You don't want to do either of those things. You don't want to go too deep and then have her be so sick of you pestering her that she doesn't want to fucking tell you anything. And you also don't want to seem indifferent and like you don't care and like you can't be approached and that you can't understand. And so that is where counseling and family therapy will be so helpful in helping open up those lines of communication so that not only you can get some insight into what's going on with your child and how you can be more supportive, but also for your child to get some insight into what's going on with you and open that dialogue a little bit. I think if it sounds like you and I might be similar ages, and I think that our parents' generation has a harder time with vulnerability. I think all the generations before us have harder times with vulnerability. And like our parents were raised by parents who didn't talk about emotional stuff and didn't really show fear or sadness or anxiety in ways that, millennial culture might be a little bit more open about it. And, obviously Gen Z. But I think that there is so much value, especially for a child who has a chronic illness, who is struggling, to have parents in the home who, without putting the burden of our own struggles on our children, obviously, there's an openness about when things are hard or when you're not feeling like yourself or when you're experiencing depression or when you're experiencing anxiety. There is a pathway to be more open and vulnerable about that with your kids so that you can then teach them that it is okay and it's safe and it's perfectly fine for them to be open and vulnerable with you, even if the things that they might be feeling, experiencing could be scary to hear. And so building that space within your own home where she really can truly be her authentic self with all of the messy, yucky, depressy, messy parts that go along with that is such a beautiful way to support her. And something I think a lot of us wish we had had more of in our own families. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a lot. I don't want to tell you there's nothing you can do, because there are certainly things that you can do, but you can't fix any of this. You can't take this diagnosis away. You can't force her to take care of herself. I mean, there are certain things that I guess as a parent you could force her to do, but you're talking about strain on the relationship. This changes the dynamic, and not just the diagnosis, but how she seems to be reacting to the diagnosis. And I think that seems like a more acute problem or issue to address right now. She doesn't seem to be doing well with this information, and that's completely understandable. This is very overwhelming and a lot for her to take in. And so rallying the family around her with the assistance of a licensed practitioner could be really, really helpful to be like, hey, we see that you're struggling. I don't know what to do. So we're asking for help so that we can come together as a team because we love you and we care about you and we want your life to be beautiful. and healthy and fun. And it can be, and it absolutely will be. It absolutely will be. You're in a really tough spot right now, but I think that there is so much potential for real openness and vulnerability between you that will allow her to feel safe knowing that she can talk to you about stuff, even when it's stuff that feels scary and feels scary to her. My heart is so with her. I mean, we do not have the same diagnosis, but it is very hard around that age to be told that, yep, you have this thing for the rest of your life that is going to cause you significant trauma. And I am no stranger to medical trauma, both in childhood and as an adult. It's a lot. And I was in therapy as a kid. I've been in therapy off and on as an adult for many years. And it has really helped me a lot figure out, okay, yeah, this sucks. And I can also figure it out. And I can still have my day, and it can be a good day, even with the hum of this bullshit in the background. It's helped me with medication management. It's helped me just feel less isolated and less alone. And I think that your daughter would do really well having resources like that. So I don't know where you live, but definitely get on the Goog, give her a call, take a look at the resources you have in your area, go through your insurance portal, see what's, under your provider. These are great places to start. You can also reach out to her practitioner who gave this diagnosis and find support groups, find online communities. I mean, one of the communities I love so much is the diabetes community on Reddit. This could be an opportunity for you to go onto a forum like that. I'm sure there's an r/POTS and say, hey, it's all anonymized. My child just got this diagnosis. She's going through it. Like, parents or people who have this or have this in their family, what did you do? Because you need community around this too. This is a lot to take on all by yourself. So building that community through all of the resources at your disposal, whether they be medical, whether they be psychiatric, whether they be counseling, whether they be online communities, I would recommend all of the above. Use every resource that you can possibly get to take this on together. She might be so fucking overwhelmed by all of this that she really doesn't feel like she can do anything but lay in bed. And I very much understand that. And she deserves more than a life in the state that she's in right now. And she can have more. I think she just can't see that yet. And so you can rally the troops to help her see what life really can look like, and that it will be beautiful and it will be hard, and that's okay, that you're going to be there with her every possible moment that you can, supporting her. You're a good mom. You're doing the best you can. I want you to get some support too. So like I said, get a therapist, babe. If you don't already have one, this is a lot to carry, and they will help you. They'll help give you tools that you can then use inside of your own house and use to help your kiddo. But we're thinking about you. This is a rough one. I'm so sorry. And I love her. I hope that she has brighter days ahead, and that all of you do, because you all deserve it. It's so hard to watch your children or people that you love going through some of the hardest times of their lives. But, that's love, right? Seeing each other at our absolute lowest and at our absolute worst and most desperate. And I think sometimes, especially with like mothers and daughters, it can be really hard for that road to go both ways. And I don't think that it's always appropriate for that road to go fully both ways. Like, obviously, like I said before, you don't want your kids to see you a complete unhinged mess, but a little bit of that vulnerability from you to show her that it's okay to be vulnerable and go, yeah, I'm feeling it, and we're going to figure out how to get through this together, I think will go a long way. And yeah, get that girl some help. Get that girl some help. All right, we're going to take one more call. Let's see what we've got.
Hi, Amanda. Little background on what I kind of am searching for advice on is me and my spouse. We've been married for 6 years, but however, our wedding wasn't exactly what we had initially planned on. I am a military spouse, so just because of some certain things, we had to rush things, and no one from our family was able to be there. We eloped. to the point that I had a work colleague was one of our witnesses and the other one was honestly a stranger. But I was never one of those girls who pictured what their wedding day was going to look like. The only thing I ever really pictured was the daddy-daughter dance. I always pictured myself dancing with my dad to Butterfly Kisses. So fast forward to now, me and my husband were still happily married. We had initially talked about like when things kind of cooled down, doing a whole celebration, but now 6 years down the line, it just kind of feels like a waste of money. We've said maybe we will do like a housewarming at some point. But my little sister is getting married in like a month or two. And one of the things, like, I am happy with how me and my spouse's whole situation worked out. But I'm just really worried that on the day of, I'm her maid of honor, And I'm really worried that there are going to be moments that I get super emotional about, and I don't want to draw any attention away from her in any way. I really want to celebrate her. I'm especially worried about when she does her daddy-daughter dance or when she reveals her wedding dress because of our situation. Like, I live on the other side of the planet from her, so I haven't been a part of any of the planning for the most part, even though I've offered. I did make her flower girl basket. Sorry, that's a whole tangent. Anyways, so like seeing her in her wedding dress for the first time, I guess the biggest thing is I want the day to be all about her because it is. It's all about her and her soon-to-be husband. But how do I protect my mental health and like my well-being? Because I know it's going to be extremely emotional. I'm going to be extremely jet lagged in addition to that because I'm only coming in the Thursday to the Monday. So I guess my question is, especially with your experience with weddings, like how do you kind of advise me to be able to find the space for myself without drawing attention to kind of needing that space to myself? I hope all this makes sense. I really love listening to the advice that you give on this platform and the manner in which you give it. So I would really appreciate just whatever kind of insight you can give. Thanks.
Woo! Okay, I feel this for different reasons, but I really do understand where you're coming from. So as I was listening to your call, I kept thinking about weddings that I have been to over the years before I got married, and including my own wedding, and weddings where I was in the wedding, weddings where I was the maid of honor, weddings where I was the best woman, weddings where I was heavily involved, weddings where I really wasn't involved at all, and weddings where I was literally the bride. So first and foremost, your emotions are totally valid and they're totally allowed. Like a wedding, as long as you're not absolutely losing it and drawing a ton of attention to yourself by like screaming and, making a huge scene, weddings are an emotional place. Everyone's crying, everyone's feeling some type of way, and you're allowed to be emotional. You're allowed to absolutely like lose your damn mind as a sister and maid of honor when you see your sister in her wedding dress for the first time. And for whatever reason that may be, A, because you are so filled with fucking joy because you're so happy for her, and B, it's allowed to be bittersweet because you didn't have that moment. All of those things are okay. And you having those emotions and anticipating that you are potentially going to have them doesn't mean that you're making the day all about you. There's a difference between responding in an emotional way and centering yourself. And so it already sounds to me like that's not your intention. You don't want to center yourself. So you can give yourself some cues, check in with yourself throughout the day, and know that like you are absolutely allowed to cry and squeal and like lose it when you see her in her dress for the first time. You're absolutely allowed to sob and feel some bittersweet regret potentially when you see her dancing with dad. I know that feeling very well. And there have been times, especially after my dad passed away, where I went to weddings of close friends or I was in weddings of close friends, and even just witnessing the father-daughter dance was really hard for me. And I would be kind of off to the side, just like crying. And when I felt like I couldn't keep myself together, I just stepped outside because I'm allowed to have those emotions. And I think that you know yourself well enough. I think from this call, you know yourself well enough to know that you don't want to draw too much attention. So you are allowed, and you're even allowed to express this to your sister and just at the, before the big day to say, hey, I'm not going to put any of this on you, but I want to give you a heads up that I'm anticipating some emotional responses to the glorious day that is your wedding. And I am going to do the best I can to regulate those emotions. But if I step outside, it's just because I need a minute to make sure that I'm not taking up too much space or I'm not distracting from you. It has nothing to do with you. I'm so happy for you. Like I just need to do this for me. And she'll understand. And frankly, will likely very much appreciate that you are aware of this potential and wanting to have your emotions, process through your emotions in a healthy way while not making your emotions the center of the day on her special day. I think that is completely appropriate. I also want to let you know, as a bride, as a former bride, there's so much fucking going on a wedding day that, like, unless you are going out of your way to be an emotional, over-the-top attention grabber, your sister's barely going to notice. She's barely going to notice. There's so many moving parts. It is stressful. It is exciting. She's going to be going through a roller coaster of emotions all day. I had a wedding of almost 300 fucking people. And there were times at my wedding when I was so emotional and locked in that I had like complete tunnel vision, like coming down the aisle and not, being walked down by my best friend, Robbie, who we have both experienced significant loss, him of his sister, me of my father. And so, he walked me down the aisle and there was like a lot of emotion and kind of, deep drama in that in and of itself. And that was, it's like I couldn't see anything except Bill at the end of the aisle. And I just was kind of a blubbering mess all the way down the aisle. I can't really believe that my photographer got pictures that good. But like my sister was standing up there. Bill's best friend was standing up there. Our families were up there. I didn't see shit. I wasn't paying attention to a goddamn, someone could have been naked in the middle of the wedding and I probably wouldn't have fucking noticed. So all that to say, give yourself a little bit of grace, give yourself a little bit of slack. Your sister's going to have enough of her own emotional stuff and her own things that need her attention, that like you having emotional responses to things throughout the wedding, or you even needing to maybe take a step outside and just collect yourself for a second, is not going to be disruptive. It's perfectly appropriate. She's going to be dealing with all of her own shit that day. And, you can lock in and show up and help her, throughout the day as best you can. And you're also allowed to take beats for yourself. 6 years is very exciting. So congratulations on 6 years of marriage. And, throw a fucking anniversary party. A lot of people wait for 10 years. Whatever. You could do that too. But like, why not 7? Why not marriage year number 7? You throw a big fun anniversary party and you do it up. You do it like a wedding if you want to. And when you're at your sister's wedding, I would recommend asking your dad to dance. It doesn't have to be anything special. Usually the DJ throughout the night will play fun, fast songs, but then also plenty of slow songs. But that was, I didn't get to dance with my dad on my wedding day, but it was one of my favorite moments of my sister's wedding that, they had their father-daughter dance. And then, a couple rounds later, a fun Sinatra song came on that my dad and I both loved, and we got to dance. And I have a beautiful photo from that dance that's hanging up in my living room. I look at it every single day. And I feel so grateful that I got to have that memory, even though it wasn't at my own wedding. It was at my sister's. And that wasn't self-centered or disruptive in any way. It's totally normal for you to dance with your dad at a wedding. So that could be a little opportunity for you to get that, a little taste of that moment that you didn't get to have in your unconventional, non-traditional wedding circumstances. And maybe that could heal a little bit of the feelings that you're having in that moment and give you something to look forward to that doesn't take anything away from your sister. That doesn't take anything away from your sister's day or your sister's moment, and also gives you and your dad a really special time together, even if it's not at your wedding. So I highly, highly, highly recommend doing that. You won't regret it. And then, yeah, make them dance at your 7-year wedding anniversary. You could renew your vows if you wanted to. Girl, I'll come do it. I'll come renew your vows. We could throw you a fun little wedding. You could do a party. Just, I don't know, go to a fucking Chuck E. Cheese. Throw a big fun party. Who cares? Who gives a shit? It doesn't have to be expensive. You could just have a barbecue. We could do it in the backyard. Like, get a DJ, get a bunch of disposable cameras, and just have fun with it. If you want to have that moment, it is never too late. I know you're thinking like this might seem weird because time has passed. Who gives a shit? Everybody loves a party. Nobody's going to be like annoyed that they're invited to a party. And if they're annoyed that they're invited to a party, they'll just RSVP no. You don't want those fuckers there anyway. So you've got this. I totally understand being emotional at weddings, but I promise you, having been in, around, and officiating many, many, many weddings, so many parts are moving that the people at the center are pretty locked in. So I think you're going to have space to express those emotions I trust you to do that in an emotional way. Crying at a wedding is totally normal. No one will even fucking notice. So have them. Don't push them down. And if you need to take a step away, take a step away. That's totally fine. You got this. Why do you think I smoke so much weed? Come on now. I always need to take a step away. So you're going to be fine. And yeah, I don't know how, I mean, you're your sister's maid of honor. So I imagine you're very, very close. I was my sister's maid of honor. These are totally conversations that you could have with her before the big day, just to give her a heads up. And then you could also have someone else that's there be a buddy for you. You know, that could just be your husband. Be like, hey, I might need an exit strategy if I start to get a little overwhelmed. Can you help me just get outside for a minute? And he loves you. He's going to be like, fuck yeah, I got you. I'm your knight in shining armor. You've got this. It's going to be an amazing, beautiful day. And I am so, so excited for your sister. I'm so happy for you. 6 years of marriage. And I can't wait to see what kind of fun vow renewal or anniversary party that you throw in the future when you're ready to do it, and make that shit all about you. We'll show up. I promise you that. All right, y'all. Whew, what a time we have spent together today. These were some challenging calls. We really got into some deep shit. And I just always want to thank the callers who are so vulnerable in submitting these questions to me. And knowing that other people are going to hear them, knowing that other people are going to feel less alone, because I think other people really do relate to a lot of the things that get discussed on these calls, even if it's like totally different from your own lived experience. There's always certain things that tend to connect us over the ether. And so I just want to express my gratitude to all of you for participating in this weird little project and kind of closing that gap. I feel like a lot of us experience stress and anxiety and depression and fear and chronic illness and relationships changing and conflicts with families and loved ones in so much isolation. And if there's one thing that Amansplaining really reminds me of every other month when we put this together, it's that a lot of humans are experiencing a lot of similar things, and we are so not alone. There are so many of us out there that are struggling with a lot of the same shit. And it just makes me feel so much less alone and so much more connected with all of you, knowing that, you know, we're all participating in this weird human experience, and there's all kinds of weird shit out there that everybody's dealing with. And it really is true that you just never know what somebody's going through. So continue to move through the world with, you know, justice, kindness, equity, and love. And we're going to figure it out. And in the meantime, we all have each other. So again, not a licensed therapist. Please text your therapist. Everybody text your therapist today. Make sure that next appointment is set up. If you need additional resources for more acute issues, we do have them available on our website. And we just love you guys so much and can't wait for the next Amansplaining. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.